sea of orange inside the Wells Fargo Center, ready for the Flyers and the Leafs as they get this season started. Game 2 for the Leafs. They won in Montreal last night. Game 1 for the Flyers.
We'll take a look at our Kia starting goaltenders for tonight. And in goal for the Flyers, Steve Mason. He is hoping to start this season the way he finished last. Fantastic numbers in his 6 decisions. And Jonathan Bernier, acquired from the LA Kings in June by the Toronto Maple Leafs, is making his regular season debut in blue and white.
Both of these teams with 1 and 1A situations in goal.
Really, very close situations.
Very interesting to see how they play out during the course of the season. Bernier making his Leafs debut. Mason ready for the Flyers. So is Claude Giroux, the captain. For the last, Steve Mason and the linesman down there, as they're getting everything taken care of from the opening ceremonies, and we're just about set to get this thing started. The Flyers and Leafs, they'll play 3 times this year. They won't play again till March. Schedule is a little different now with the way they've rearranged the league in terms of course, realignment and the schedule in which the Flyers now play every team from the Western Conference twice, once at home and once on the road. So less play against teams in the conference, their own conference, especially the ones not in your division.
But at the same time, you can't look too closely at the schedule for the Flyers. It's just about getting off to a better start than last year.
8 of their first 12 are in this building as we are underway. 2013-14 Flyers season. Flyer line combinations at the top of your screen. Here's Braden Shen after the puck, getting it back to Braden Coburn for a shot that went wide. All the way out to Phil Kessel. He'll bank it to the neutral zone. James Van Riemsdyk gets to it there, and he's on in on a 2-on-1. Then Riemsdyk the shot, and it went high and wide. All the way out to Hartnell, and away goes the other way. Scott Hartnell flipping, looking for Giroux. He's knocked down as he went to make the move. That was Dion Phaneuf, was then double-teamed. Hartnell and Braden Shen getting to him, but it's a 3-on-2 the other way. They say it's onside. Kessel across the Van Riemsdyk, back to Kessel, in front. And Bozak was stopped in tight and then piled on. And the Flyers go the other way. No feeling out process here. There's Hartnell with the pass to Simmons. Wide fires, and Bernier with a stick save. Back out to Grossman for a shot. That one deflected and went wide as LeCavalier got his stick on it. Lazarus will take it out to the neutral zone.
Can you tell the regular season is on?
Oh, great start. There's Mannery, a pass intercepted by Cody Franson. And he'll bank it all the way down the ice. And there's the whistle stopping play. First minute and 10 seconds, full of energy.
Well, Steve Mason had to be ready from both sides early.
Watch Bozak swing around there. He had an opportunity to be able to try to come back with that right-hand shot. And then LeCavalier, watch, he's got his stick down. And boy, Bernier had to be real sharp there. Bernier, this is our first look at him in a Leaf uniform. And like you said, this guy came with some pretty good credentials from Los Angeles.
Only his second game ever against the Flyers. Luke Shen rolls it in to the Leafs zone. LeCavalier fires one off Bernier's stick. Now Simmons backhands. LeCavalier trying to get back to it, but the Leafs are there instead. And they'll move it ahead. Here's Joffrey Lupul, another former Flyer. His cross-ice pass tip batted and now offside is whistled. Downstairs we go. Coatsy in his usual spot inside the glass.
Thanks very much, Jimmy. You know, I'm still pinching myself every time I say Vincent LeCavalier is the Philadelphia Flyers. But on top of that, he's the number 2 center behind Claude Giroux. Could you ever imagine that was going to happen? 2 high-powered centermen playing together on the Flyers. He's going to be such a great asset. He's going to take the pressure off Giroux, and he's going to do a great job in that second spot, and I can hardly wait to see him on the power play.
5 years ago, I couldn't imagine Vinny LeCavalier as a second-line center, but now in his mid-30s, he's the perfect guy in this role.
John Couturier, also a prominent pivot for the Flyers, moves the puck in. He's got Jake Voracek on his wing to start to Talbot. Max Talbot trying to get it in front, but he was met there by the defenseman Mark Fraser. Back to the point it goes. Another new Flyer, Mark Strike. His pass hopped over the stick of Voracek and now played up by the Leafs, and they'll move to center ice. Boland is stopped there. Couturier in the backhand will move it in the middle. Voracek tipping the puck, hoping to get back to it, but he was cut off by Jake Gardiner. Now Talbot back to Voracek. They try to work down low, but the Leafs come away with it. Mason Raymond, the former Vancouver Canuck, will go across ice to Fraser, and he'll bank it into the Flyers zone, and that's going to be another icing call.
Boy, what a ravenous forecheck for the Flyers in the early going here, and they are really hungry and ready to go. Early in a game when one team has played the night before, you expect the team that played the night before to have the jump. That's not the case. Denis Lecavalier and all of the Flyers forwards just ravenous on the forecheck.
Well, you gotta hope you can catch the Leafs a little tired as this game proceeds. 2 nights in a row, they faced their arch rivals in their open night last night in Montreal, and now had hit into take on a Philadelphia Flyers team. That's a tough go.
Timonen shot, and it went off of Braden Shen to the corner. Hartnell tracks it down. Scott Hartnell tied up there. A couple Leafs getting to him, they clear it. No icing this time as Braden Coburn will have to go back and play the puck. Yeah, the Leafs had a busy preseason and have a busy start to the regular season. Whereas the Flyers are certainly well rested. Braden Shen getting a big opportunity playing on the Claude Giroux line. Leafs will move back the other way. Phil Kessel makes the shot and the save by Steve Mason, and no further play. Gives us a chance to check out the Virtua scratches from the lineups. Back to regulation-sized rosters. David Clarkson serving that 10-game suspension for leaving the bench to join an altercation in the preseason. Morgan Riley, highly touted defenseman, also a scratch. Lawton Gill and Gustafson, all healthy scratches for the Flyers. There's Randy Carlyle in his 3rd year as coach of the Leafs. First time, though, he got a full training camp with his club.
But what a difference he makes behind the bench. Just consider that last season, the Leafs led the league in shots blocked and in hitting. That's the kind of blue-collar approach that Randy Carlyle tries to bring. Flyers were in the top 5 in both those categories, too, so similar in that department.
Great matchup. 2 Stanley Cup winners as coaches.
Off the draw, the Flyers control. They'll move it ahead. Former Leaf. Rosa will move it into the Toronto zone. Bernier sets it up. Paul Rangers clearing, attempted a body, bounces across ice. Flyers after it, but Cody Franzen will move it ahead. Look out, Ronaldo nearly was able to nail Carter Ashton, but Ashton saw him at the last moment and got out of the way.
Zach Ronaldo's got to ride his adrenaline a little bit. He said it's the highest it's ever been, and you know, he got tripped on the forecheck on that first rush into the Toronto zone, and I think he might have been a little upset about it.
Well, Ashton's wearing that cage, so sights might be a little tough, but boy, he caught Ronaldo coming at him at the last second.
Jay Rosehill just got nailed by Colt Norris, so now Rosehill's the one who's not happy. Cody Franzen hearing it from the crowd here as he is being very patient behind the Toronto net. Moves the puck out to center, swatted away by Stripe, but gotten back by Bozak. Bozak's wrist shot, and a save made by Mason. It settles into his equipment.
You got to wonder if they'll drop the gloves in this one. Toronto had 5 fights last night. Here it is on the left of your screen. That's the play I was talking about with Cody Franzen tripping up Zach Ronaldo. And then Zach Ronaldo had the GPS pointed right at Ashton.
Ashton is wearing the big cage in the warm-up, and he got hit hard in a fight last night, one of many fights in that Canadiens-Leafs game. And most likely a broken nose for Ashton, but he's out there playing. His peripheral vision is good enough that he saw Zach Ronaldo coming. There's a shot by Van Riemsdyk, and Mason held his ground.
Jimmy, I think he heard him coming.
Yeah, that's probably true. And Reed banks this in, but it'll be icing. And there's the hybrid icing coming into effect. Defenseman had the advantage, so play whistled as soon as the puck went across the line.
And the refs will make, the linesmen will make that call, and this is new for them because it's a discretionary call. Whoever is winning the race or whoever is deemed to be the guy that would get to the puck first, as soon as they get to the face-off dots, you'll hear the whistle blow. They don't wait till it's touched up back behind the goal line.
Plus the prerequisite is they've got to decide whether that puck was actually going to go through or cross the goal line first, Billy.
Here's Phil Kessel, just signed a contract extension, 8 years, $8 million a pop. As Reed will move the other way to Wayne Simmons, who fires it wide. Now Lecavalier's angle drive off of Bernier in the side of the net. To Simmons, takes a look in front, shuttles it to Reed. The versatile one. Behind the net, Lecavalier could not come up with it as he was pestered by Franzen. But Simmons picks it up, good cycling down low. Timonen to Lecavalier. Lecavalier for Timonen, tipped it in, Bernier able to make the save. And now Kessel starts back the other way, but he's stopped by Coburn. They keep the puck in the zone. Lecavalier to Reed for the shot, and Bernier fought that one off. Good shift from the Lecavalier line right there. Flyers now trying to take advantage of a Leafs change. Here's Strike, winds it, fires, and the save. Bernier, he'll hang right on.
That's why you've got to pay attention when you're out there with Lecavalier. The quick transition there, what he did to get that puck back to Reed.
Well, a real cooperative, organized forecheck by the Flyers, including Kimmo Timonen joining the cycle. That puck was end over end, and those are monsters that sometimes curve on goaltenders. It got under Bernier's left arm.
13 shots between the two teams already. Voracek trying to make it 14, but that one slid wide. Straight over, around behind, looking for Voracek, who had that lower body injury in preseason, suffered in a game here when he went sliding into the net. And did not play the rest of the preseason. Mason covers up there, but we were told he's ready to go. And Peter Laviolette has him on a line with Sean Couturier and Max Talbot.
No, I like the balance. As long as nobody breaks down and everybody is good enough defensively, they should be able to produce. Peter Laviolette really likes the chemistry that he sees and hears in his locker room through training camp and the start of this season. Talked to us before the game about quality people wanting to play for one another, and that naturally is the key to successful group efforts, and he thinks that he's at least got that feeling in the room right now.
Drop the puck to the right of Steve Mason. And Max Talbot shifted over and was able to tip that puck out to the neutral zone off the draw. Oh, they've taken a shot off the clock. They're down to 12 shots between the two teams, 6 apiece. Both teams have had a couple of scoring chances. Been a real good pace here early through the first 5.5 minutes. Couturier forced to the wall by Joffrey Lupul. Up to center. Now they dropped it back, but he's after it. Lupul in there, but Couturier able to find Mazaros, and now it's Voracek gaining the red line, deposits the puck deep into the Leafs zone. Both teams will make player changes here. Leafs start up. Jake Gardiner, talented defenseman. Drops it back to Mark Fraser. Season ended last year when he took a Milan Lucic slap shot off his face. Facial fractures, has a plate in his head. Here's Ronaldo sending that one across. Adam Hall trying to get to the redirection, could not make contact with the puck.
And that plate in his head didn't stop Fraser from dropping the gloves in Montreal last night.
I was wincing both times he did that. He was basically told it won't be fully healed for quite a while, and it didn't stop him, like you said.
Wow.
There's Luke Schenn. Ahead, and now his brother Braden will dump it into the Toronto zone. Bernier sets it up for Paul Ranger. Former Tampa Bay Lightning defenseman. Now dumped in by Ashton. Mason playing the puck. Finds Braden Schenn. Very effective movement of the puck by the goalie there. Now Giroux is taken down. Rosehill carries on. Penalty upcoming. Rosehill dropping it back to Braden Schenn. Braden Schenn turning with it. Delayed penalty against the Leafs, and he is checked. Loses the puck, and there's your whistle. So the first power play of the season belongs to the Flyers. They'll go to the man advantage after this. Greg Murphy has loaned me his notepad for the winter. Our good at Mercy University. Flyer game notes. A lot of change in the NHL. Realignment for new divisions. Rule changes. Among them, of course, the hybrid icing that we've talked about. And game on last night. The NHL season underway. The Chicago Blackhawks raising another banner. Second time in 4 years for the Blackhawks to lift a banner to the rafters at the United Center. Quite an emotional night. These two guys were part of that team. Obviously not part of the ceremony last night. Dave Bone, who scored the cup-winning goal. Ray Emery, who was 17-1 during the regular season. They'll get their rings eventually.
Well, and they both deserve them too. Ray Emery was so important for the Chicago Blackhawks. 17-1, remarkable, and set a record by winning his 10 first starts. Unreal.
Flyers go to the power play here. Colton Orr guilty of tripping. And so the Flyers man advantage unit to the ice. It has Timonen and Voracek manning the points. Giroux, Hartnell, and Simmons up front. The Flyers power play that was outstanding last year against a Leafs penalty killing that was also very good. Giroux dissecting that defense, and then his shot, not much on it. And Bernier able to make the glove save and hang on, but the Flyers will get an offensive zone draw.
When you take a look at Colton Orr, probably pound for pound the toughest. I mean, this guy is tough. I mean, he hits hard. In fact, I was talking to Todd Fedoruk, a gentleman that knows in fighting him over the years, he punches as hard as anybody. And that's a strong statement from Todd Fedoruk.
He also drags players to the ice pretty well, as he did to George Peros of the Canadiens last night.
That was ugly, very scary. Here's a shot by Timonen that goes wide. Scott Hartnell battling for the loose puck. Leafs able to bank it, and Timonen cannot knock it down at the point. Here's your first McDonald's power play payoff contestant of the season, Logan Stair from Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Fresh $25 in the jackpot. Voracek penetrates the Toronto zone, but his pass knocked down by Jay McClement, one of the top penalty killers in the NHL. Number 11 in the Toronto jersey. Flyers get the puck to Hartnell, trying to go across to Giroux, but it was cut off by Franzen, who clears.
The Leafs had that shorthanded goal last night against Montreal by Tyler Bozak. It actually matched their whole output from last year.
But they were very good on the kill.
Yeah, they weren't in the business of scoring shorthanders, but they finished second overall in the league in PK, so this is going to be a test for the Flyers.
There's Nazaros. Quick shot! Save Bernier through the screen. Set by Braden Shen as he cut through, and the puck set all the way down. They had grown accustomed to bad penalty killing, 28th or worse for 5 straight seasons until all the way to number 2 last year. And Jay McClement a big part of that.
And Randy Carlyle.
Yeah, exactly right. Very defensive-minded coach. There's a shot by Spread. Actually, it was a slap pass, but it went well wide. Now Shen. 3 back out to Nazaros across for strike. And now the Cavalier, the power play just about over. In fact, it is over. Shot, strike, save Bernier. And he's able to hang on. Strike very good at getting that puck through.
Yeah, and good at transitioning from receiving the pass to letting it go. It's a chance that Scott Hartnell tried earlier. He was looking south and decided to try to pass west, but the Leafs were sniffing it out.
Looks a little bit like the Rangers play their defense as far as killing a penalty. They overload the corner, forcing you to come out. All you look up and see 4 guys. But if you get the puck through, somebody's open.
Early chance advantage to the Flyers. They dig the puck free here. Poirier back to Nick Grossman across. Luke Shen fires it to the corner. That'll bounce all the way out to Nazem Kadri, who could not get it past Couturier. Couturier played it forward, but the Leafs there. And it is cleared all the way down. Another icing against Toronto.
Well, the Flyers are going to hit the road for a couple of games, and then they come back home next Tuesday to face off against the Florida Panthers. Then again next Friday night when they take on the Phoenix Coyotes. You can lock in your seats right now by calling 800-298-4200. The Wild Animals are coming to town, the Panthers and the Coyotes.
There's Timonen. Around behind for Scott Hartnell. Now Coburn has shot blocked off by Franzen, who's been very involved here early. Those Panthers made a slew of changes late in training camp. Among them getting Tim Thomas between the pipes, but a bunch of changes.
Yeah,
Some veteran players.
Bring your program.
Yeah. There's Kadri. His shot went just wide. Lupul checked by Giroux and Coburn, but the Leafs maintain possession. Kessel checked by Timonen. They wrap each other up. Giroux trying to fish the puck free. And now he's able to swat it to Braden Shen, who is able to poke it out to center ice. Giroux trying to get to it. Giroux beats Gutterson to the puck. Giroux for Hartnell. Steered it wide. Oh, perfect pass. But Hartnell could not find the net. Now, Bernier lost his stick as he broke up that pass from behind. Some of the fans thought he threw his stick at the puck, and now the gloves are on the ice, and it's Lupul and Braden Shen. Down goes Lupul, and down goes Shen. And one linesman in there. As those two are all wrapped up on the ice. That one was over as quickly as it started. But plenty of excitement, a lot happening here through the first half. The period in the regular season. Shen and Lupul will head to the box. Flyers nearly getting their first goal of the year, just wide.
That's how this thing came about. Braden Shen going to bat for Claude Giroux, got hit from behind by Joffrey Lupul. Braden Shen went right to Lupul and said, "You can't do that to our captain. At least not get away with it."
Each player got one shot in before they hit the ice. A lot of talk today about whether that should be allowed anymore in the NHL, dropping the gloves and fighting, and sure we'll have time to talk about it. You alluded to the situation in Montreal last night with George Parros. And by the way, he did leave the hospital today, obviously with a concussion. But a lot of the discussion today, in fact, several general managers speaking up saying perhaps there should be game misconduct for anybody who drops the gloves. So we'll see where that goes. There's Jake Gardiner with the puck for Toronto. Cross, Fraser ahead. It's Nick Grossman who accepts that at the Philadelphia line. His pass deflected and then swatted into the Toronto zone. Gardiner cutting it off, left it right in the slot to Fraser's right there. 7 straight shots for the Flyers. They have a 9-6 advantage. No score where it counts as we tick now to 9 minutes remaining in the first period. Things settling down a little now. Clement pass to Ashton. He's cut off by Timonen. Coburn finds Ronaldo. Little head man. Little Cavalier. Gains the line. Finds the trailer Timonen. He waits. Timonen around behind and try to get it in front. Stop and reach. Chop that in. It rolls around in the blue paint. Bernier able to corral it.
Well, let's take a look at last night's game between the Montreal Canadiens and Toronto Maple Leafs. Opening night for the Canadiens, but Colton Orr and George Parros, they're going to square off here. Now, obviously, two very good fighters. Parros has been around the league in a couple of places, but right there, Orr, right at the last second, watch him pull Parros to the ice, and Parros went head first. I mean, it was absolutely nasty, and you can see him going off on the gurney. Definitely a concussion. Could have been a broken jaw to boot, guys.
You know, the debate about fighting, Coach. See, George Parros is in Montreal because Montreal is a very small team. They need somebody to defend some of the small guys. I mean, look through their lineup from Gianda to Briere. They're tiny up front. One of the reasons Parros was there.
Power play for the Flyers. Ranger off for hooking, and they nearly scored. Did the Flyers right off the faceoff. Timonen shot deflected and went wide. Now Voracek to it. So the second power play for the Flyers here in the early going. Phaneuf checked by Hartnell. Giroux waiting for that puck to come free. And now it does bounce free, but Phaneuf winds up with it. Giroux picks his pocket. Giroux to Simmons. Right back to Giroux. And now Timonen. Dropping it off for the captain. He'll fire one. That's wide. Now Voracek plays it the other side. Voracek moving on in around for Giroux. I'd like to set up that double screen. Hartnell high, Simmons low. Now they're switching, and there's the pass. Simmons redirected it, but picked off by Giroux. His pass was knocked down. Simmons gets it back. Gunnarsson quickly to him. Simmons keeps it alive. Voracek out to Timonen. He'll take the shot wide. Bounces out. Simmons a chop at it, but Bernier's got it. Jonathan Bernier's been very busy here over the last stretch of play.
Been busy and really good. Yes. I mean, his positioning is terrific. He has been hugging the post when he has had to, and when shots have gone wide, he hasn't caught himself out of the net by trying to come out and cut that in the angle so far. Really quick. Good performance by Bernier so far.
Here's a response here. Watch the puck come off the back dasher. Here comes Simmons right there to take a whack at it, and Bernier's already there and getting the glove up to make the save on Simmons. That is a great reaction there by Jonathan Bernier.
For so long, he was that prospect that couldn't get playing time. Because of Jonathan Quick out in LA. He's going to get playing time, although split it with Reimer, who played very well last night. Strider's shot here, deflected and went wide. James Reimer took the Leafs to the playoffs last year. Set a Leafs record for save percentage during the regular season. His reward, more competition this year in the form of Jonathan Bernier. There's the Cavalier to Mazzaros. Mazzaros set it off the pad of Bernier at the side of the net. Half a minute remaining in the power play. The Leafs try to clear it. Goes into the Toronto bench. There's your McDonald's power play contestant number 2 for the season.
Melinda Vukovic.
Vukovic.
Or Vukovic. But Melinda, you know it's you, don't you?
Melinda from Lansdale. Certainly can recognize that she's got $50 in the jackpot. Flyers power play during the preseason struggle, but that is basically the case for almost every team because you're using all kinds of different combinations. Here's the shot by Streit, blocked. Bozak got in the way. Now another shot. And Bernier able to knock that aside as Giroux put it on net. Reed reaching for Giroux. Did not keep that puck in. Outside is called. A lot of linesmen in the seats do not agree with that particular call. Get Philly sports news and scores when you're on the go. Be the first to know the latest on all of your Philly teams right from your smartphone. Download the free CSN Philly Sports app right now. Keep you up to date. There's one other game going on as we speak in the National Hockey League. Another one to be played later on. Intrigue everywhere you go in the NHL. 3 great games last night. All high scoring, physical, comebacks. It's great stuff.
They didn't feature great goaltending other than James Reimer of the Toronto Maple Leafs, who was the first star of the game in Montreal. Took the skate, raised his stick.
Indeed. He seemed quite happy in doing so. Right, the power play is over. Dropped it off for LeCavalier. Back to Reed. Snaps that one in along the boards. Diving for Couturier, but could not come up to it. Strike is there to Couturier. And to fight off Paul Ranger. Does, but the cross-ice pass. Right, actually was able to keep it right along the line, but decided to take it out to center. Right back in they go, Reed. Reed with some room, takes the shot. Bernier, the save, slight tuggle, but he's got it. Gives us a chance to tell you our Jeep trivia question of the game. The Flyers last played their home opener against an Eastern Conference team in 2009-10. Who was the opponent? Penguins, Hurricanes, or Capitals? All 3 of those teams are now in their division.
The Metropolitan Division.
Yes.
Get used to it. Brand new.
You're always excited, of course, the start of the year, but the realignment really has me stoked. I can't wait to see how the divisions play out.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be tougher to make the playoffs in the East because now there are 16 teams trying to go for 8 spots instead of 15.
And one of those is Detroit.
One of those is Detroit.
They're always good, it seems.
Yep. Western Conference only has 14 teams with 8 trying to get in. So a bit of an advantage for the teams in the West.
And the other team that came over from the West, Columbus, they're getting better rapidly.
Yes, they are. Kind of neat having 5 of the original 6, though, in the conference.
Leafs have not had a shot on goal now in a long time. Flyers with a 13-6 advantage in shots as we tick down to 5.5 minutes remaining in this first period. Kadri had to go across ice, but the Flyers rotate back. Good coverage. Adam Hall, who was cleared waivers for a day, went down to American Hockey League Adirondack Phantoms, then quickly was recalled. That was a paper move, and he's in the starting line here tonight. And Bernier, a little trouble with that, and Johnny on the spot almost with Zach Rinaldo as he got a poke at it. But Bernier had an answer. Back inside the Wells Fargo Center, no score Flyers and Leafs. NHL face-off 2013. As we referred to before the break, realignment in the NHL, and the Flyers in a new division. There it is, the Metropolitan Division, as they add Carolina, Columbus, and Washington to some of their former Atlantic Division brethren, the Devils, Islanders, Rangers, and Penguins. A lot of competition there, a lot of great rivalries. That should be a lot of fun.
It should be, but I'm looking for the pushover in that division, and it's not jumping off the page yet.
3 of those teams have to make the playoffs. Possibly as many as 5 could, as after the top 3 in each division. 2 divisions in the Eastern Conference, 2 wild cards will be selected. The 2 teams obviously with the most points. Flyers fight for the loose puck. Here's Timonen. They're in wide. Puck has been in the Toronto zone a lot here in this first period. Voracek wheeling out with it. Here's stop. Leafs move it ahead, not out of the zone. Here's Hartnell, has a look, and then took a shot that was blocked. He goes back after it, fires it all the way out. Coburn is there to Timonen. Timonen flips one, deflected wide by Hartnell, who then tracks it down. Gets it to Timonen again. No backhand off the shin pad of Voracek. So Voracek out with Giroux and Hartnell on this shift. Familiar line mates. And play is stopped. We showed you the Metropolitan Division. There are the rest of them. The Atlantic, which now includes the Canadian teams, Boston, Buffalo, Detroit, and the Florida teams. And then the West. What do you think, Coatsy?
I think it's going to be really interesting. I think there's a lot of good teams in this Metropolitan Division. I like the format. I like the idea, get 3 teams from each of the divisions, and then the wild card. I think it's going to make for an exciting finish to this season.
Yeah, the only argument some people had is that the rivalry games will not be as plentiful.
True. Used to play 6, sometimes 7 games against teams in your division.
Yep.
Now 4 and 5. Flyers will play 5 games against 2 teams in the Metropolitan Division, 4 against the rest. Lecavalier centering, Simmons a shot, and Bernier able to make the save, and it goes out of play. Wow, has he been sharp? Simmons point blank denied right there.
Boy, the Flyers have sustained their forecheck pretty well since the opening faceoff, and they've settled into great positional play, hard work, coordinated effort, and lots of puck cycling. Notice how Simmons dumped it back in and then hooked right around into the front. Perfect pass and a great shot.
Just a hunch, though. I don't think he put that shot right where he wanted to.
Well, he had a stick on the ice, but he moved in there very quickly. You see him, had his head up. He responded from coming out of the corner. Did a great job.
That deflected shot sailed up over the crossbar, perhaps a little wide as well, and missed the Philadelphia net. So the Leafs still without a shot since relatively early in this period. They're giving him credit for a shot there, so that must have glanced off of Mason's glove. I thought it went past him.
Just for the record, when you drop into the slot like Simmons did there, you don't have a lot of time to pick your spot. You just let it go.
Bodie's shot there snared by Mason.
Well, you can reserve a suite now for an October or November game and choose a free suite to either the College Hockey Face-Off on October 26th or the return of Disney on Ice this holiday season, or from one of 2 Phantoms games this February. And go figure, this offer is for a limited time only, and why wouldn't it be? I think the time to jump on this would be, well, how about now?
Yeah, there's some great hockey here in this building. Obviously the Flyers, but you've got the Phantoms, you've got the College Hockey Face-Off. You talked about the Frozen Four next spring.
Great. Philadelphia and South Jersey are hockey central.
Philadelphia Flyers junior hockey team. Peter Luukko will stop by. We'll talk about that in between periods. They'll play a game here. Some great hockey to be played here at the Wells Fargo Center.
And it's going to be high-level hockey, too, that Philadelphia Flyers junior team.
It is great for the kids 18 to 20 who are trying to make their way to collegiate hockey. Jake Gardner is shot off the glove, but Mason couldn't control. And it bounces free to Ronaldo. Oh, he takes a big hit from Ashton as he clears the zone.
There's that right-handed glove of Mason, and that came up right at the last second. That thing was pegged.
The Leafs went a long time without a shot. Now have 3 very quickly here in the last minute of play. Grossman off of Rosehill and into the Leaf zone. Rosehill took a hit from Fraser, then gave him a slash, and then some conversation. And I'm sure Coatsy was privy to, but can't relay to us. This is a family show after all. Gardner dumping it in. Grossman to it. Around it goes. Mazaros for Grossman.
Jimmy, I'll tell you this, there's a lot of former Flyers on the Leafs and a lot of former Leafs on the Flyers, and there is no love lost. How's that?
Franzen won't leave any more love with a hit that he just delivered to Talbot. Talbot goes back in and gets the puck. There's the grit of Max Talbot for you. Voracek to throw it around behind the net. Voracek now back out with Couturier and Talbot. Oh, Talbot trying to get Coulomb in there. And he missed him for the most part with that hit attempt. Now Franzen heard some footsteps and threw that puck across. The Leafs able to clear the zone. It is not a game for Mika Hart there as you look. There's hits just about everywhere on the ice. Sometimes not even within camera range. Lupul got that one back. Franzen getting a lot of ice time again. He was second on the Leafs in ice time to Phaneuf last night. He joined the Leafs in camp late. He signed his contract very late in training camp. Braden Schenn chips that one into the Toronto zone and chases. Gunnarsson's there first. Drops it back along. Lupul will try the glass. Luke Schenn keeps it in and rammed into by Kadri. And play stopped. Coming up between periods 1 and 2, we alluded to the fact that Peter Luukko will stop by. We'll talk about the Philadelphia Flyers junior hockey team. There they are, taking the game in. They're getting ready to play some games over at the Virtuous Skate Zone in Voorhees this weekend.
One of the guys is applauding. I'm not quite sure what.
Maybe does he see himself on the screen? No, he knows. He knows that Peter Luukko is going to be here talking about that. The guys back in the studio will have their say as well. Plenty of analysis all coming up between periods 1 and 2. Wayne Simmons kicking that puck along. Matt Reed is checked, and we've got a penalty.
It's going to be interference. And it's going to be the Leafs. It's going to be Van Riemsdyk as he headed into the corner. James Van Riemsdyk gets the gate for the Leafs. So the Flyers, with a minute 17 to go, have another power play coming up.
Well, you will end up taking penalties if you have to face a forecheck as ferocious as the Flyers have been in this first period. Wayne Simmons tried to squeeze between Van Riemsdyk and the boards, and Simmons will take that. I would hardly call it flagrant.
Oh, it's not flagrant, but you see, Van Riemsdyk, if he keeps his feet moving there, he can do all he wants, as long as he has position. As soon as he stops skating, then he's pulling him back.
Mr. McDonald's power play payoff contested. Third power play already for the Flyers. Leafs have yet to have one. They want to take advantage of all this man-up time. Giroux dances on in. Giroux the shot! And he missed it wide and caught the safety netting, and so that'll bring the face-off out to center ice. He's had some chances.
Well, the Leafs have been able to bend without breaking as well because they're such a good penalty-killing team. They killed all 4 Montreal power plays last night and added the shorthanded goal. The Flyers were a good power play team last season, finishing 3rd overall. So at some point, the numbers will work against Toronto if they keep piling up the shorthanded situations.
Here is Giroux trying to get that puck to settle down, and now knocks it off for strike. 45 seconds remaining in the period. Braden Shen pulls it around to the other side. The Cavaliers over after it. He'll try to spin it up the wall. Strite has to hustle over, but it's tipped past him by McClement. No relation. Matt Reed reaching for the puck there, but Franzen is there, and he will clear. Flyers a bit disjointed moving up ice there. They'll try to get organized for one last rush here in the first period. Strite leads that rush. And now slowly in across the line. He'll wind it around. The Cavalier there. Cavalier deep. The Cavalier out the other side. Centers. Braden Shen scores! There's your first goal of the season. Shen from the Cavalier. For a case of tasty cakes. 1-0 Flyers.
Well, we will talk a lot about Vinny Lecavalier's goal scoring this season, but he can also dish and set up. Terrific pass through the skates of Cody Franzen right to Braden Shen.
And look where Shen is, right in the middle of the box. 4 Leafs right around him, but he got himself in the middle. Look at that, he's the target, and Lecavallier's already picked him up.
Boy, there had to be a good shot to the wide side by Shen because Bernier had the near side post sealed off and his body was there. I mean, Bernier played that right. Shen just played it better.
So the power play goal has the Flyers on top. Grossman will send it off a stick into the Leaf zone. The crowd will roar. The first period of regular season hockey here at 2013-14. A good one for the guys in orange and black. They outshoot the Leafs 15-9. And Braden Shen tallies late. Getting a pass from that guy. Vincent Lecavalier gets his first point as a Flyer. 1-0 Flyers through 20 minutes. Tonight's Flyers Maple Leafs first period was brought to you by Mazda. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. By Powerback Rehabilitation. And by Papa John's. Get 50% off your online order at Papa John's the day after the Flyers win and score 3 or more. Promo code FLYERS3 at papajohns.com. Peter Luco next. President Bobcat Spectacor. Flyers lead the lead.
Backhand in the NHL. Pavel Datsyuk.
Lifts the stick to steal the puck as well as anybody. He does a lot of things right up there near the top, doesn't he? And the Flyers will get to see Pavel Datsyuk 3 times this year as they are now in their conference. That's a 2-0 score. Later on, Anaheim in Colorado. A lot of intrigue with that game as Patrick Waugh is behind the bench for the Avalanche for the first time. That should be fun. Patrick Waugh, he's outspoken, and
that's why I can't wait to see him in some of the post-game press conferences.
Yes. Right here, Flyers with the lead as we start the second period. Flyers got the only 3 power plays of the first period. You tend to see those things even out, especially since the third penalty was a marginal one, so that leaves power play might get an opportunity or two here. The second, we shall see. Timonen rolling that one along the dash. Gunnarson's after. Claude Giroux fighting off a check. Tenaciously after the puck, and then delivers to Hartnell. Back out in front, it's deflected, bounces in the air, and it gets through Timonen out to center. He hoists it back in. Flyers will take the opportunity to make some changes, although Brayden Schenn stays on the ice, and momentarily so did Hartnell. He'll bounce that one. It's gloved by Bernier, and he'll hang on to it.
The Flyers are starting out how they left off, and that is in Toronto's zone. One of the guys leading the way in the puck possession department in the first period, deep in Toronto's zone, was the newest Flyer, Vinny Lecavalier. Boy, he had good jump and great awareness. I mean, he's so gifted offensively. And on the assist here, he faked coming out in front on the power play before dancing around behind the net and dishing perfectly to Brayden Schenn. So, very active first period for Vinny Lecavalier.
Very prototypical Vincent Lecavalier, because he'll hold on to it and hold on to it. And that's why when you're playing a wing with him, you got to be ready at any given time to get that puck.
Well, he's had a good first period as a Flyer, that's for sure. Andre Mazzaros, pestered by Lupo, who steals the puck. Then Lecavalier comes back and delivers the hit to knock the puck free again. He then gets spilled. Like Kuhlman knocked him down. The Leafs will roll it around the other side, trying to sweep it out of the zone, and doing so is Simmons, but it'll be icing against Philadelphia.
Toronto looks like they have come out here with a little more snarl in this period. Well, with Vinny Lecavalier at 6'4", 220, he's more than just a pretty skater. Once the play ends up in the trenches, as long as he doesn't step on the puck, right, he does pretty good work.
Yeah, the pretty element sort of leaves when you step on the puck, but to say this about Vinny Lecavalier, I mean, when he first came up, he was all offense, and over time, he's become a much better all-around player.
I think he's going to like this system of Peter Laviolette a lot more than the one that he was playing in Tampa, where they were so defensive-minded the last couple of years.
When you talk to him about it, Coach, he'll tell you that he played different systems in Tampa, obviously. It had different coaches, but this system in particular, he says, is made for him.
Sure.
But he's still adjusting to it as well.
The last system in Tampa under Guy Boucher had him backing up all the time.
Yeah, they never even advanced into the zone to pressure the puck, as we saw and witnessed many times.
Flyers after the puck here, Grossman. That one deflects back toward Mason. Reed is there to play it from his goaltender. He shovels it through center. Voracek hoping that would make it through, but Fraser cut it off. Now Grossman rifles it back into the Toronto zone as the Flyers will make some changes. Gardner around behind his own net. Voracek was going for the hit. Now he goes after the puck in the corner. Moved down by Fraser. Flyers very hard, and Voracek has the puck, backhands it, it deflects away from Couturier, back to Streit, who fakes the shot, then takes it. It's knocked down in front, loose puck as Bernier got tangled up in front. The Leafs were able to take the puck out of harm's way. And now Mason Raymond will fling into the Philadelphia zone. 2.5 minutes in, second period. Couturier brings that one over at the red line. Ashton will swing it back into the Philadelphia end. Streit ahead. Rink wide feed, Talbot to Ronaldo. Ronaldo missed Couturier, and that makes it icing.
Well, Billy had talked about the domination of the Philadelphia Flyers continue here in the second period. Part of that domination is taking the body. As you see Fraser trying to duck away from Jake Voracek. Watch, Fraser right at the last second is going to be able to see Voracek coming in. That's what you got to do. Now what? Couturier, bigger, stronger. He's not worried about going to the front of the net. That's his job. And despite being knocked down, he did a great job of being able to create problems in front of Bernier.
John Couturier, such a vital component for the Flyers. So many players had either injury issues or regressed last year and have to bounce back to what they were before. Mason let that get out in front, and right there were a couple Leafs. Bozak in particular, but Mason able to get just enough of it to keep it away from him. Straight the other way, finds Ronaldo for the shot! Save, Bernier, rebound, Ronaldo, taken to the wall by Van Riemsdyk. Puck bounces side of the net, taken there by Paul Ranger. Paul Ranger back in the NHL after a long time away. Has spent 3 years out of hockey due to personal reasons, 1 year in the minors. Van Riemsdyk, a shot off the shoulder or arm of Mason. and then out of play.
That's a pretty good shrug save by Steve Mason. Here's the Flyers on the rush. We talked about Mark Streit, number 32, being a rushing defenseman. He led this rush and found the seam perfectly to Zach Ronaldo. Good wrist shot by Ronaldo. And Jonathan Bernier has been as good as he could possibly be. The only puck that's gotten by him was the point blanker from Brayden Schenn.
11 chances. So he has made saves, or the Flyers have missed the net on 10 of those 11 chances. As you mentioned, Bernier's been good. Mason at the other end, not as busy, but also has been good. And I believe you mentioned, Bill, not a lot of great goaltending last night. Giroux centering. Perhaps the pad restrictions having some impact early on offside the call of the Philadelphia line. Saw some pucks getting through goaltenders last night that didn't get through goaltenders much in the last couple of years. Well, Flyers fans can now put the game in their own hands with the all-new official Philadelphia Flyers free mobile app. Fans can download the app at philadelphiaflyers.com/mobile app. Got to be up to date this day and age.
Talked about the smaller pads, the shorter pads. Now they can only cover 45% of the distance from the knee to the pelvis. The bottom line is it means about 2 to 2.5 inches per pad per goalie. You multiply that times 2 because they wear 2 pads. That's 4 or 5 inches when they're down on the butterfly that they can't cover. The puck is 3 inches wide. That gives the puck an extra inch or 2 of daylight to spare.
Well, Steve Mason got a break. He only had about 1.5 inches on each pad.
There's the hybrid icing. No icing as Lecavalier was first to it. His center pass knocked down. He gets it back. Lecavalier in the slot. Backhander goes wide. Might have been hooked, but no. There is a call in the corner. Now Reed gets buried. There could be 2 penalties here.
I didn't see the arm up in the first one, but I thought there should have been on the Lecavalier hook.
I was going on your arm up here in the booth thinking he was already up. So maybe just the 1 penalty here.
Just 2 minutes because Reed was over getting checked out by the referee. The referee indicating 2 minutes, not 4.
Toronto 15, 2 minutes for high sticking.
Just that.
Oh,
and
wow.
Wow.
That's not Paul Ranger's game, so.
What a story he is. The Leafs found out he was coaching his son's Bantam team in Whitby, Ontario. After when he left Tampa, that was a real hurting for Tampa because he was their #1 offensive defenseman, and Jimmy mentioned that's 3 years ago.
Yeah, October 22nd, 2009, his last NHL game until last night. So the Flyers, their 4th consecutive power play. 2-minute high-sticking penalty on Ranger. And there's your McDonald's power play payoff contestant. Giroux gains the line, winds it deep. Hartnell. Foul behind for Simmons, had to go off his skate and was overtaken by Gunnarsson, but Flyers retrieved the puck. Now it's Phaneuf, the captain of the Leafs, who scored for them last night. Backhanding, Giroux knocked it down, tipped it back. Timonen forces 1 deeper. Bounces off a body across ice. 2 Flyers on 1 Leaf, but now Phaneuf. Pestered by Giroux, and then Hartnell there to take the puck. Good support there. And now it's Timonen to Giroux. Giroux the shot, blocked by Phaneuf. The rebound cleared to center.
You know, to be successful in the power play, you have to at least match the work ethic of the defenders, and the Flyers are outdoing Toronto.
There's a shot by Schenn that goes off glass. Brayden Schenn set up. He's got it back. Off the wall with it. Pass cross ice. Giroux in front. Hartnell was tipped on the way there, and he could not get a shot on goal. And Kuhlman able to clear.
The Flyers are winning the races to the puck. They're stronger on the puck. Very often, power plays try to survive on skill. The Flyers are taking a blue-collar approach to combine with this skill. That's how you win.
Schenn first to the puck here, but Fraser has it now with time, so he'll blast it hard off the boards. 22 seconds remain on the power play.
And you got to take advantage of the fact that the Leafs probably didn't get to bed or even to sleep till around 3 o'clock this morning.
Here is Reed. Lecavalier. House across, Streit with room, winds, fires, deflected, save, rebound! Oh, Bernier, big save, no whistle, and finally play is stopped. Bernier wanted to know why the whistle took so long, but he again, with some great work in tight, he keeps the Leafs within 1.
Pads are sure good. The Flyers hunger level. Bernier followed that puck right down to the ice and then had his left pad waiting for it. Matt Reed played that as well as he could.
Watch the technical aspect of Bernier too here. This is the new deal where they go down into that butterfly, but they're making sure they cover the whole bottom of the net. Watch. He keeps his body up, his upper torso up, but look, he butterflies and makes sure he's got the pipe covered and as much as middle of the net as possible, and that was really a great job technically by Bernier, and he's done that throughout the game.
Does need an equipment adjustment, though. Gives us a break, Bill.
Well, want to let everybody know the Flyers' new junior team plays its inaugural home game in the U.S. Premier Hockey League this Saturday at 7 at the Virtua Center Flyers Skate Zone in Voorhees. You got to check out the USPHLFlyers.com for tickets.
That'll be great. Lou Nolan's going to do the public address. Warren Hart's going to sing the anthem. It's going to be the whole Flyers experience. It'll be a lot of fun. Grossman shot here into a crowd. A backhander is blocked. Talbot could not get it through. Leafs back to full strength now behind the play. Ronaldo is slow getting up after he and Phaneuf came together. The icing waved off as Mason plays the puck. And here's Coburn. This is one of those games where you really have to keep your head on a swivel. There's things going on at both ends of the ice at the same time. Couturier to Ronaldo. He overskates and then he runs over Ashton.
Whoa.
Couturier gets that puck to Talbot. Looking along the wall. Now Ronaldo. Side of the net. Couturier. Spinning. Tried to set up, but it went to Ashton. But he's quickly checked. Flyers get it back. Strike really having a strong game. Got it to Couturier. Out to the point. Luke Shen. Spins. Takes a look, sends it wide of the net. That's Strike, pitching it to the corner. And it's controlled by Gardner. Jake Gardner starts up. A tough year last year until the playoffs. We played very well. To Kessel, that shot, a juggling save made by Mason. He hangs on. And the obligatory pushing and shoving ensues.
Fearless play of tonight's game, and it's Zach Ronaldo. He's going to take on Dion Phaneuf first of all, and boy, Phaneuf gives it to him pretty good. Ronaldo was very slow to get up. I think he talked across, check right there, but Ronaldo didn't quit. Went back in the corner, took out another tough guy named Mark Fraser. Down to the ice he went. What a shift he had. Oh, and that's why it's our Independence Blue Cross fearless play, and right there, the difference in size between Zach Ronaldo.
Well, we'll let everybody believe he's 169 pounds. On Meet the Flyers, he told us a little differently. But
he wants it that way, too,
does,
so he can sneak up on people. But
right.
You might want to add about 21 pounds to that number. He loves it, being listed at $169. And every hockey website in the world still has him at that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something, the work that Zach Ronaldo is doing against the tough D-men. These guys played last night. Coatsy mentioned they got here after clearing customs and flying, get to bed late. They played this whole game in their end.
Yes.
It takes its toll when it's the second night in back-to-back games.
And that kind of thing evens out this weekend. Flyers play in Montreal Saturday night. Carolina on Sunday at 5 o'clock, 22 hours later. So, again, you have to travel and go through customs. It'll be a very quick turnaround. So every team's going to have those situations. I believe the Buffalo Sabres, I read somewhere they have 22 back-to-backs this year.
22?
Yeah, they lead the league.
They're going to have a lot of days off, but big deal, right?
Yeah, that's right. There's Jake Gardner. Pass off the stick of McClement into the Philadelphia zone. Grossman, McClement come together. And they keep that puck alive to Carter Ashton. Carter Brett played a long time in this league. Right to McClement, back to Gardner and across. Fraser's shot off a skate wide of the net. Came outside of the cage. They battle for it there, and now Adam Hall has it. Hall to Rosehill, and now Simmons. Banking that one in. Gardner has it right back. Leafs in across the line. Centered off of Timonen. Backhander. Loophole save made by Mason, and he covers.
Leafs with a bit of an attack here, and Steve Mason being able to Velcro the puck to his pad and then smother it. He wants to play the puck as often as he can, but not in this situation.
13 for 13 thus far. His numbers in the preseason were not great, but if you watched the games in which he played, he didn't play a lot of games in front of guys that ended up in the minors or going back to junior. He didn't have the A-list games for the most part, and that certainly can impact the goalie's numbers in the preseason. Brayden Schenn after the puck there. Moved ahead to Lupul. He's got Kuhlman. Right back to Lupul. Spent 2 years as a Flyer. His pass is back, and now a shot by Phaneuf as Hartnell had wiped out a Hartnell down right there as he went down in the circle. That allowed Phaneuf some time. Leafs beginning to assert themselves here. Hartnell with a steal. He tries to outlet Schenn, but it's well too far ahead of him, and Phaneuf will play it across ice. Listen to Lupul. Lupul in. The shot deflected and muffled by Meszaros. Right after it, and he's able to control. Takes a look both ways, moves it ahead through Hartnell and all the way down. No icing here. The Leafs could have played that. Feel a little bit of a lull here. See if the Flyers can pick the tempo back up. They've been consistently very good in this one. Kessel went down in center ice. Another Leaf goes down as Van Riemsdyk blew a tire. The Flyers move ahead. Here's Reed. Across ice for Simmons, just out of his reach. He's got to it. He gets to LeCavalier out in front. It was tipped by Bernier ever so much. Keep it away from Reed. Now Simmons drilled by Ranger. Carries on. Simmons persistent. Got the puck to LeCavalier. Trying to get in front, but it was Bernier who got his stick in there. Out it goes. Timonen hops over his stick. Look out. Timonen got in the way of Van Riemsdyk, and they'll call that a penalty. Here's Kessel with a shot. Save Mason. Oh, what a bad save that was on the sniper, Kessel. And he made the stop, but now the Leafs will go to the power play, their first one, when we return. Hockey presented by Dairy Queen. Yeah, Hot Fudge Sunday sounds sort of good right now. Timo Timonen in the box. First Flyers penalty kill of the season coming up.
And he earned this penalty, and he really had to take it. I mean, take a look here. When the puck becomes a golf ball and jumps over your stick the way it did, you have a choice. Take the deuce or give a guy like James Van Riemsdyk a breakaway. That's the good decision, and a good save by Mason.
That's a quick business decision right there.
Mason still had to make a tough save on a guy who, as you were saying during the break, Bill, delivers the puck as quickly, with as much velocity as anyone in the league, Bill Kessel. He's out there now on the power play, looking to tie this game up. There he is, 81 with the puck and with room. He'll take the shot, and that one either stopped by Mason or hit Van Riemsdyk in front. Grossman tries to clear. Phaneuf keeps it in and finds Kessel. Oh, Kessel turns it over, and Hall will tip it out to the neutral zone. So the Leafs here, just past the halfway point of regulation time, get their first power play. Last year they were 14th. The Flyers with outstanding penalty killing, 5th in the NHL. Leafs were 1 for 7 on the power play last night in Montreal. There's Kessel, getting it back out to Franzen. And now Phaneuf to Kessel, off the wall with it. His pass in the middle, backhander Bozak, and that's blocked. Quickly recapture the puck. Get it to Phaneuf. Across Franzen. And now it's Kessel looking to set up Phaneuf. Now it's Kessel with room across ice. Franzen shot. Blocked Grossman second try. Blocked again. Grossman. Third shot didn't get through. And the Flyers cleared. Grossman a wall back there.
He blocked a shot earlier on the kill. I think that's 4 in one shift.
43 seconds remaining on the man advantage. Ranger for Kadri. He could not get it past Luke Schenn. And a chance to clear for Reed, but he's overtaken by Lupul. Lupul moves it to Gardner. Gardner in the slot. Looking for Mason Raymond. He had it swatted away, but it's kept in by Ranger, who gets it to Raymond. Raymond checked by Couturier, who went for the puck instead of the man. Doesn't matter. Flyers get the puck. Schenn cross ice looking for Meszaros. Meszaros ahead. Reed got it to center ice. Just barely. Past Gardner. But right back in they go. Kadri to Raymond, and now Ranger. Power play down to its final seconds. Flyers steal and clear, and that'll do it. And the Flyers successful on their first penalty kill of the year. Remains a 1-0 hockey game. Less than 8 minutes to play in this second period. Luke Schenn turning with the puck. He's going to carry it. And offside is the play at the Toronto line. Nick Grossman decided to be a defenseman and a goalie all at the same time. Oh, look at those saves.
Unfortunately, defensemen were not forced to cut down the length of their shin pads or the size of them. And at 6'4", 230 pounds, he gets in the way of so many shots. He would have led the Flyers in blocks had he stayed healthy last year, but Luke Schenn ended up number 1 overall. But a valuable guy in the penalty kill when the puck doesn't even get to your goalie. And rarely does he screen his goalie and let the puck get by him.
That's huge. Any goalie will tell you that is you can't get in the way and not get the puck or it's big trouble.
Give the penalty kill a lot of credit outside those opportunities by Franzen that were blocked by Grossman. Boy, they kept the puck to the outside. Oh yeah, there was some great puck movement by the Leafs, but the Flyers kept them to the outside.
I should say Schenn to Giroux, and he could not hang on. Now put up across. Bowen, rink wide into the Philadelphia zone. Strike will be the first to it. Hits to Brayden Schenn, who takes a big hit there from Bowen. Strike. Luke Schenn couldn't catch up to it. Hartnell took a look around, but couldn't get the puck past Franzen, who gets it back. Cody Franzen across for Ranger. Ranger around behind, bounces out to Van Riemsdyk. To the point, Franzen across for Ranger. His shot wide. He's looking dangerous here. Franzen, a shot save, rebound! And unable to control it was Bowen. Giroux skated back to center. Gets to Hartnell. Hartnell back for Giroux. It's cut off by Ranger. Ranger then checked. Hartnell to the puck. Hartnell one hand check. Turns, fires, blocked. Ranger just laid out and it hit him. Now teaming in for Simmons. Simmons to Hartnell. Quick shot off the stick and out of play. Chances at each end of the ice.
Well, now it's Steve Mason's turn to put on a show at the Flyers' end because the Leafs are starting to gather a little bit of steam here in the second period. A close chance in front, and Steve Mason looked like he got this with his right pad.
Oh, he did. Wow.
Oh.
Then the other end, you got Scotty Hartnell's going to have an opportunity to steal the puck. Now come in the backhand. Look, him trying to just defend against Ranger to be able to get the opportunity, but Ranger was already down. So when Scott came around with the forehand, Ranger was spread right out in front of Bernier.
Flyers win the draw. Reed back to Timonen for a shot that's blocked. Simmons after it. He has it. Wayne Simmons for Reed, but he could not corral the puck. In trouble with it now is Raymond, and he's pursued by Lecavalier. Gunnarsson rifles it up the wall. Lupul got his stick on it, and it finds its way to Raymond, who has all kinds of speed. But Raymond stopped by Coburn. It bounces to Kadri. His pass blocked. Kadri signed a contract in the offseason. Not too much there. Reed outletting Lecavalier. The feed for Simmons. They're onside. Simmons waiting. Back across. Reed. Quick shot deflected one wide. He gets back to it. Reed back to the point. Across it comes Mazzaros. Wrist shot blocked. Bounces to Lecavalier. And now it's Mazzaros again. He'll wide. He'll fire. Save. Bernier and the rebound away from Reed. Lecavalier tied up in the corner. Both D and Gunnarsson go down. Reed steals the puck. He's got penalty. Oh, Matt Reed. Just great work. He and Lecavalier do the heavy lifting along the boards. And Reed draws the penalty.
23 remaining in the second period. Scotty Hartnell on the left side. Paul Holmgren very pleased as we take a look at our Geico quote of this evening's game, of which Mr. Holmgren says, well, he's in the best shape of his life. His body fat is 7% lower than it's ever been. So he did work in the offseason. That's what we asked him to do. And Scotty Hartnell certainly came through. 7%. Wow.
7% lower than it's ever been. And
right.
He trained hard in Calgary with the Schenn brothers and some other NHL players. He said he's still got his golf in. He just spent a lot of time in the gym before he hit the links. There's Giroux, who also apparently got some golf in the offseason. Didn't go quite as well for Claude as he had that injury, but he's fine now. The Flyers on the power player. Phaneuf off for tripping.
Go take practice swing.
Yes, it's all about the practice swing. Flyers moving up. Giroux gains the line, and Hartnell will carry in. Back out. Timonen across. Voracek takes a look, and the shot went wide. Giroux dives and keeps it in. Quick little pass to Timonen. Wrist shot deflected. Blocked. Bounces free. Voracek shot. It went off the stick high and wide. You're just wondering if that great keep by Giroux would lead to a goal. It still might. Timonen to Voracek. The shot off a shin pad and wide. Simmons gets to it. Wheels it around. There is Giroux. Surveying. Giroux then approached by Fraser. Boy, what a solid defenseman he's become after being kind of an extra in New Jersey. Had a great year for the Leafs last year. Got a force here tonight. Giroux turning with it. Finds Hartnell for the shot, and he missed it. How often have we seen that? Giroux to Hartnell, but that one missed the target. Now Voracek. Right to center, it's blocked. The second try. Simmons lifts McClemont's stick, but McClement stays with it and backhands down.
Flyers deserve something. They deserve the goal on that power play. The containment and the pressure were unbelievable. Claude Giroux made 3 or 4 remarkable little plays to keep it alive. And again, the Flyers are outworking the Leafs penalty killers.
2 players out for the final part of this power play. Ranger blasting that one, and Cavalier got his stick out of it, could not keep it in.
I was looking right over the shoulder of Hartnell when he got that pass, and he was throwing top shelf right over the shoulder of Bernier and didn't miss by much.
But bouncing high in the air and rattling around. The power play is over. The Flyers 1 for 5 with a man advantage. That's not bad. They've actually been better than that. Cavalier, oh, they say that's offside. Looked as though he touched it while he was on the line from up here, but offside the call. Tuesday night on the Orange Line, Danilo Cavalier talks about his new hockey home and what he expects to bring to the Flyers. Flyers head to the home of hockey's Miracle Lake Placid as they united as a team during training camp, and Scott Lawton mic for sound during one of the preseason games. Watch the season premiere of the Orange Line Tuesday night, 11:30, right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Lisa Hillary, who used to host that program, headed to Anaheim during the offseason. Good luck to Lisa out there.
Yeah.
Ice Side reporters for the Ducks.
Going to do great.
Have fun in California. The Ducks should be a great team. They're in action tonight in about 15 minutes in Denver against the Avalanche. Shot goes wide by Phaneuf. Back to even strength hockey, ticking down toward 3 minutes remaining in this second period. Low scoring game, but it has not lacked for action, that's for sure. Here is Talbot. Ariel is knocked down by Phaneuf, who charges right back in. Phaneuf holds on, then his shot, and is kicked out of the rebound. Kessel, he scores! On his 26th birthday, with a newly signed contract extension, Kessel now has himself a goal as he ties this game at 1, picking up the rebound and beating Mason.
Well, that's a crying shame for Steve Mason because he made a remarkable left toe save, but the puck kicked back out to Kessel. And we talked about the quick release. You couldn't even see the puck on this play. And Phil Kessel doesn't just try to hit the twine, he tries to put it through the twine.
Yeah, you can't defend against that. There's no way. I mean, that's just luck. When it comes off of the pad of Mason like that, on to one of the best scorers in the National Hockey League, Phil Kessel. And it actually was on the forehand to boot, Jim and Billy. It's just unbelievable the luck there, that puck coming back into the slot like that.
Born all the way back in 1987. Phil Kessel, 26 years of age today. Well, a lot of reasons to be happy these days, doesn't he? That $64 million contract extension signed yesterday. And now he has his first goal of the season. That puck hops out of play. Enough the only assist, Coatsy, at 17:06.
I guess he forgot about being the last player taken in the All-Star game a couple of years ago with that new contract. He's not worried about that anymore.
Ancient history. I think he's making a little more money than some players that were picked ahead of him in that draft.
I would think so.
You think? Well, about 62 million more than some.
He's now only Stamkos, Ovechkin, and Perry have scored more goals than Phil Kessel over the last 3+ seasons. So a lot of people are saying, hey, is he really worth $8 million a year against the salary cap? He's a one-dimensional player, some say, although the Leafs will tell you he's beginning to become a more well-rounded player. But when you can score that many goals, you're worth a lot of money.
Well, we've got a little get-together here with former Leaf Jay Rosehill, who now wants to have a little piece of Mr. Coldor. They're going to face off here. Phaneuf was involved, and the referees and linesmen very quickly to break it up. But it just shows you it doesn't make any difference. You can be a teammate all you want.
Yeah.
Look at he's still trying to get him to go.
Yeah, and they don't. Holton Orr was very busy last night, as we detailed. Shown. So they do not scrap, although Rosehill was willing. McClement breaks his stick. Flyers get the puck, and here's Voracek trying to find Hall on the right wing. Hall in front. Rosehill there. Bernier, the save, but the puck goes behind the net. And now McClement will clear.
Boy, that would have been better than a fight with Holton Orr.
Yeah. Instead of a fight, he almost wound up with a goal, did Jay Rosehill. Now here is Schenn. From the red line, winding it in. Bernier for Fraser. Now the puck out to the neutral zone. Once is back in, the Flyers have it. Kimmo Timonen signed a one-year contract. Most felt that meant this will be his final year. He has said maybe not. We'll see. Giroux will send it across. Scott Hartnell there, chops at it. Knocked down by Fraser. Brayden Schenn fishing for it. Bernier was down and gets the whistle.
And another reminder that Penn State and Vermont are set for a rematch of Division I hockey programs at the Wells Fargo Center. It's October the 26th. Game time 5 p.m. And tickets start at just $10. They're available online at ComcastTix.com. The Wells Fargo Center will be alive with hockey this entire season.
That was a rematch of last year between Penn State and Vermont. Penn State was the winner last year, and I imagine Vermont's had that on their mind for a year. Penn State on to play in the newly formed Big Ten Hockey Conference, and that's going to be a dandy.
And their new building should be spectacular, as you like to say, Coach. Here is Meszaros looking for Giroux, and off his stick. Duff and Giroux come together, the puck up the wall and out to center. Racing back is Hartnell. He turns away from Lupul. And he actually hit Streit with that clearing attempt, but the puck doesn't get out of the zone. So Phaneuf around behind. Streit after with Kulemin. Brayden Schenn in there as well. And all muck for the puck into the final minute of this second stanza. Flyers got one in the first. Leafs have retaliated here in the second. Big scrum here. Comes free, there's Hartnell. Takes a look. And then sends the aerial through the neutral zone. Now it's stolen. Here's Giroux. Overskated, now centered. Good play made by Ranger to break that up, and charging up with it is Kulemin. Kulemin in across the line, the right wing feed, and the shot there by Van Riemsdyk was muffled. Streit takes a look and breaks his stick as he tries to clear. He got some help from Hartnell, but the Flyers now have Streit out there without a stick. There's Meszaros. 12 seconds left in the period. Flyers need to contain this puck. Ranger has it stolen by Simmons. 8 seconds remaining. Simmons turning on the Jets. Wayne Simmons trying to cut it on goal. He's taken down. Penalty. Will it be a penalty shot? We wait for the call. It is. Penalty shot for Wayne Simmons.
The most exciting play in hockey, and we're going to get to see it to finish off this period. It took a while for this call to be made. We knew a penalty was coming, but Wayne Simmons smartly protected the puck by carrying the stick only in the right hand.
And what he did is he got Ranger caught Simmons' legs before he got the puck. Didn't even get the puck. If he had got the puck before the legs, that wouldn't have been called. Here's your penalty shot coming up.
Simmons against Bernier. One-on-one. In he goes. Save Bernier. Simmons cutting back to the middle, and Bernier kept his stick down and keeps it a 1-1 game.
Wayne Simmons looked like he tried to open up a 5-hole on Bernier and then nail it. He was going 5-hole. He just missed his shot, but I don't think there was much room there.
Well, Ranger was certainly relieved. He was so upset when he came back to the bench. He looked at Dave Ferris, the assistant coach, kind of saying, did I really do that? Was I really at fault? We could see Wayne Simmons not very happy with his attempt on Bernier.
And so the second period ends, and we are right where we were when this game started, dead even. Phil Kessel's first of the year, as this game tied at 1 with now 2 periods in the books. Excitement, there's been frustration, all part of NHL Face-Off 2013. Season underway officially last night for 6 teams. 5 more teams opening tonight. Toronto playing their second game already, and there are the Sugar House Casino numbers through 2 periods.
Well, the Flyers still with a slight advantage in shots on goal and scoring chances. The power play goal that the Flyers have, I wish right now they went 2 for 5 so far in this game, but not to be. There's Phil Kessel, who has scored the only Leafs goal. I was just wondering if his body fat dropped that much in the offseason, like Scott Hartnell's
maybe
did.
since that picture was taken.
I just, that's not right what I just said. I mean, he's a wealthy man. He can look any way he wants.
He can score goals, that's for sure, whatever his body fat is. Wayne Simmons was wishing he scored to end that second period as he got a penalty shot.
Right here, I think he thought he was going to be able to get Bernier to move, but we've seen Bernier so technical throughout this game. Watch the pass. He just made sure they're square, goes down, and he was just mad at himself. I think because he was not as aggressive as he would have liked to be, but give Bernier a little credit by going with those pads. He just takes the whole bottom of the net away now, Bill, and it makes it so much tougher. You got to go upstairs.
Yeah, Wayne tried to get him to bite on a couple of little switch fakes with his hands and his stick, but Bernier just waited and waited.
You know, when you go in on a penalty shot or in a shootout and you shoot and the goalie is with you, it looks like you didn't try anything, but you're trying something. It's just, obviously a deke looks prettier. It looks like maybe more effort was put into it, but he was hoping he'd open up and he didn't.
Well, it's an accuracy play. Right. And if you're accurate, you score, and if you're not, it looks like it was a wasted effort. But
all right, third period starts. 1-1 game. Flyers trying to win their season opener. Leafs trying to make it 2 wins in a row to start this 2013-14 season after being victorious in Montreal last night. Lee Poland rings it around the boards. Nick Grossman fires it. To the corner it goes. Voracek all tied up with Carl Gunnarsson. His stick goes flying. That was Gunnarsson's. He gets it back. Grossman trying to keep it in but could not. Andre Mazaus is back. So many injuries over the last couple seasons. Just trying to shake all the rust off and get back to being the solid defenseman that he was. That pass through center missed, and so it's icing, and there's your whistle stopping play. Well, there's still time to sign up for the second annual Flyers Charities 5K and 1 mile walk at the Wells Fargo Complex on Saturday, the 26th of October. Register now at flyerscharities.com/5K. Draw to the right of Steve Mason. There is Grossman. Back to Mazaus. Did not come up with it. Braden Shen dips back. Makes it to Couturier, who chips to Talbot. Gunnarsson instead. Got his stick on it, but Couturier retrieves. And he'll bounce one into the left to Bernier. Got his stick on it. Braden Shen to the puck. And then the Leafs to him. And they'll knock it away. Van Riemsdyk. Got that one past Giroux and down the ice. If it makes it past the goal line, it will be icing. It does.
Well, let's take a look at our Wells Fargo great check of the game. And, you know, Jake Voracek's known for his scoring. Well, he'll take the body too. Now watch Fraser. Fraser's got his head looking the other way. So Jake picks up on that, wants to be able to maybe get a real good shot at him. Fraser backs off, but Jake continues. Look at that. Look at that hustle as Fraser chased it back in the corner, and Jake ended up with the puck.
Leafs gain control off the draw. Phaneuf to Kessel. No backhand to center and down. Timonen sort of gets in Van Riemsdyk's way as much as possible. JVR still in on the forecheck, and now Timonen lobbing now, and it stays in play when he goes out to center. This looks more like two teams feeling each other out a little bit here as we start this third period in a 1-1 game. The beginning of the game was just racehorse hockey. And now these teams realizing important points up for grabs in this tight hockey game. Hartnell gains the line diagonally in. Giroux taken down. A little awkwardly into the boards, but appears to be okay. And now the puck up past Luke Schenn. He'll have to go back and get it. Hits leader among NHL defensemen in each of the last 3 seasons. He got the puck ahead to Hartnell, and now for Braden Shen, but offside is called at the Toronto line.
Vinny Lecavalier was very evident and obvious in the first period. Picked up a beautiful assist. Here's a scouting report on Lecavalier. Imaginative puck handler. We saw that on the dish to Braden Shen. He will challenge defenders with his size and his speed, and he's got a powerful wrist shot. And he was the captain of the Tampa Bay Lightning not once but twice. At 19, he became the youngest captain in NHL history. A year and a half later, after clashes with John Tortorella, the C was taken away from him. They won a Stanley Cup when he wasn't wearing the C, and in 2008, after maturing, he became a captain again.
And obviously he couldn't wear his favorite number after Jean Beliveau.
Dave, as the Maple Leafs able to score, Dave Bolland in front, tipping that one past Mason, and the Leafs get their first lead of the game, 2-1. 2:30 into this third period.
Boy, the Leafs have just gotten better since the first period. They pushed back physically to start the second period, but this looks like it was a lucky bounce off the skate of Luke Schenn, if I'm not mistaken.
Right there, it's a 2-on-2 situation behind the net. Mason appeared to be there, but nobody.
Well, I still think that went off the skate of Luke Schenn right to the blade of
Right
the
at the
stick
second,
of
yeah.
Dave Bolland.
Bolland had nobody on him when he was right in front of us after he had that 2-on-2 situation below the goal line.
His last goal only won the Stanley Cup for the Chicago Blackhawks, but this one's pretty important. His first goal as a Toronto Maple Leaf puts them on top here early in the third period of this game. Bolland acquired for some draft picks back in June. He's hoping he will have perhaps more of an offensive presence than he even had with the Blackhawks, where he clearly was a checking player, a guy who can disturb the opponent and also chip in with the occasional offense. Lupul sends that one deep into the Philadelphia zone. Now it's banked back out. So for the first time, the Flyers trail now. See how they respond. Here's the Clementis shot. That one takes off. And it went off of Mason and then into the safety netting.
Yep, it's time to push back to the Flyers. And upon further review, the puck did not touch any part of Luke Schenn. Joffrey Lupul just threaded the needle. Similar to the goal that Brayden Schenn scored. No chance for Steve Mason to react to that.
And that's a heck of a play by Lupul to get that puck out to Bolland, because you're in so tight, and then Bolland reacted very, very quickly. He didn't stop that at all. He let it go immediately.
Zaus to the puck for Philadelphia. Flyers unable to maneuver up. They lose it. Here's Carter Ashton with it. Ashton turned back. And they'll roll it around behind. Zaus there. He reverses. Flyers have to race back over. Roseville a chop at it. Gardner keeps it in. Still in the Philadelphia zone. Zaus did not clear. Leafs keeping the Flyers hemmed in. Now Rosehill will move it ahead. He chips, hoping for Ronaldo. Ronaldo takes his stick up high, penalty. Oh, but then Rosehill comes in and decks Rosehill from behind. Rosehill apparently okay. The gloves are off. They're wrestling at this point.
The linesmen don't want them to get going. They're going to stop this before they even get going. You can see Rosehill very aggressive, and Orr being held by the other linesman. This is going to be a real interesting call, because you know Ronaldo's definitely has drawn the first penalty.
Rosehill obviously rather upset.
As he should be.
We're checking Ronaldo to see if he's bleeding.
The Flyers should end up with at least a 4-minute advantage here, the way I look at it.
Yes, you're absolutely correct.
First this.
Right.
On Zach Ronaldo. Looked like it grazed him in the face, so the arm went up.
That's on Mark Fraser.
Zach Ronaldo made sure the ref saw that.
Orr's gonna get major there, doesn't he?
Yeah, Rosehill's hit on Fraser was a good hit, and then Colton Orr comes in and cross-checks Rosehill in the face. I don't even know what Rosehill's getting a penalty for here.
Obviously the former Leaf. 72 games. The crowd now just getting a look at the Orr hit on Rosehill on the big screen, and I mean that was clearly the worst of any of the infractions that we just saw.
No
Peter
kidding.
Laviolette does not appear happy with what he's hearing, at least to this point.
I have no idea why Rosehill gets a boarding penalty here.
So Rosehill's got the board. Cross check goes to Colton Orr, and the original penalty elbow.
2 minutes cross check.
Mark Fraser, yes.
How's that a boarding penalty?
But how is that a 2-minute cross check? He went right for the head.
He hit him in the shoulder, though, JJ.
Yeah, I guess.
Hit him in the shoulder with it. But I just don't buy the boarding penalty on Jay Rosehill hitting Fraser.
Well, through it all, it's a 2-minute power play for the Flyers. The 2 minors on the Leafs, 1 on the Flyers. And a huge chance for the Flyers here to get this game tied back up. They get their 6th power play.
Boy, the Flyers do a great job. They love to be able to bring Giroux late on this in full flight. It's worked pretty well every time until just now, where he got caught up at the blue line.
They get the puck. Here's Giroux. Cross ice. Check it in front. It slid through Simmons. He couldn't knock it down. Giroux gets it back. Here's Timonen. Cross ice forward. Check. Quick shot. Save Bernier. The rebound all the way out to Giroux. He steadies it. Back out. Timonen shot. Save Bernier. He's got it in the glove. Jonathan Bernier has been good.
The only thing better than the Flyers' puck movement and their shooting has been Jonathan Bernier. I don't even know if he had to make a save on that one, but Scott Hartnell had a chance on it.
And then the second one, the big windup from the point, there's Timonen. And as he goes down into the butterfly, his glove is in the air, not on top of his pad, in the air, giving him that much more opportunity to get a piece of that puck.
As you're here, remaining in the power play. Strike. 3. Leafs do a great job of disrupting the Flyers right at the line, and then Schenn left it for no one in particular, and Bolin clears it all the way down. The Flyers have to travel the entire length of the ice again. Here is Strike. For Brayden Schenn. Cut off by Franzen. That gives Ranger tons of time, but he backhands it right to the point, and waiting for it is Giroux. Giroux, quick shot, save Bernier, the rebound tipped away from Reed. Giroux tries to center and does. The shot! That hit the body in front as Cavalier could not get it through. 20 seconds on the power play. Art Strike, former captain of the Islanders. Weaves in, they say it's onside. The pass to Brayden Schenn. They'll turn it across ice. Giroux has it, and he tried to force that one across and stole it. Jay McClement the other way. Giroux goes down with Kuhlman, and an interference penalty.
It's going to be Kuhlman. He dragged down Giroux as Giroux tried to get back in the play. He tried to shield off Giroux so he couldn't back. There's the interference.
Well, the Flyers are back in action, and so are specially priced tickets for college students and active military personnel. All you have to do is show your student or military ID and save. The Wells Fargo Center box office on the day of each Flyers home game. It's a great opportunity for college students and members of the military.
So the Flyers with their 7th power play of the game. 2 seconds of 2-man advantage time, but they aren't able to do anything with that as Phaneuf clears all the way down. The Leafs have had 1. The Flyers 7. Patrick Phillips hoping Flyers can tally again with a bad advantage here. Giroux in. And the shot is blocked. And the Leafs clear. Flyers seem to be having some difficulty, Bill, with the entry into the zone.
Not so much the entry, because Giroux is able to enter, but then he's surrounded by 4 Leafs, so he needs support, and it needs to be close support.
And it's a turnover again after they enter the zone, and Van Riemsdyk able to win the race for the puck, moves up, holds, waits, fires, and missed it short side. A chance to go the other way for the Flyers. Giroux for Hartnell, 3-on-2, right wing feed Simmons. Simmons going wide on Ranger, and Ranger recovers to knock it away, gets it to McClement, who clears. Now Ranger looked like he was beat, was able to recover and knock it away. Halfway through the bad advantage, Strike will try. Waiting, and offside they go. Natives getting restless with the Flyers power play.
Now everybody has to be patient on this attempted entry. When Mark Streit carries, he's looking back for Giroux, who is kind of coming in the slingshot. Coatsy talked about it a couple of minutes ago, but then when Streit decides to carry, you can't jump the line. Here's JVR's chance. He just pulled at about 18 inches wide. That wasn't even close.
No. Healed it. And so the Flyers with a face-off here outside the Leafs zone. It's controlled by Mazars. He knocks down that clear. Cross ice, Streit turning it along for LeCavalier. Brayden Schenn reaching for that. Phaneuf does not have his stick, grabs the puck. Flyers get it back. Reed to LeCavalier, and now Streit. Across ice, chip pass from Mazars. Back to Streit. Tried to go across ice off a stick with Cavalier. Forced by Raymond, and the Leafs, Phaneuf able to clear.
Brayden Schenn has to come back up the wall on that play to give Vinny LeCavalier an option.
Mazars for Brayden Schenn. In front, LeCavalier fans. Now the shot straight. Bernier rejects it. And out it goes to Reed. Back out LeCavalier. Wrist shot. That's denied in front. Brayden Schenn surrounded by Leafs. Reed gives him some support, but Franzen chops it away. Leafs back to full strength. There's Kuhlman out of the box. Kuhlman drop pass Van Riemsdyk. The shot blocked. Rebound. Tipped to the corner by Mason. Flyers have it back. 12 minutes and change remaining, third period. Reed winding it in. Couturier trying to control it. Batted around and finally turned out to center by Lupul. Ronaldo hustling back. Kessel pestering him. Zach Ronaldo able to control. He's met at the other side of the ice by Ashton, and then Talbot giving some rough treatment. Grossman to Couturier from the red line. Winds it deep. Talbot chases with Gardner. Talbot comes up with the puck. Max Talbot. Ronaldo. He's cross-checked down by Ranger. Grossman to Couturier. Turning with it. Couturier muscling toward the slot. Lost control just as he got there. Lupul to the puck. His pass to a cutting Bozak. Back for Lupul. Change of direction. Back around for Bozak. And out Kessel. Unchecked behind the net. Kessel waiting. Finds his man. Gunnarsson shot blocked. That was Ronaldo laying out to get in the way of that. Now it bounces back to Bozak. Bozak around behind the net. Has a look. Back out Franzen. He'll wind and fire, and that's blocked. Talbot went down. Grossman was also there. Kessel's pass tipped by Ronaldo. Talbot has it. And he'll bank it at hoping for Coburn, but he's in ahead of the puck. Offside the call. 10:50 remaining in the third. 2-1.
Lead the Philadelphia Flyers 2-1 with 10:50 left in the third period. Let's take a look at our Hyundai. Save of the game, and it was Jonathan Bernier. This is just one-on-one hockey right here. Watch. Puck comes back out right at the hash mark. And right there, Mark Streit has the ability to be able to wind up and let it go. And look at Bernier. He didn't go down right down into the butterfly. He kept that upper torso up, and he caught it right in the chest.
Here are the goaltender numbers. Bernier's been busier. And he's made 26 stops. Flyers have to keep trying to apply the pressure here. Down one. Approaching the midpoint of this third period. Grossman hammered by Kuhlman. Grossman slow getting back up. And the Leafs get to the puck. Here's Lupul. Lupul checked by Giroux. Giroux willing himself to that puck. And now he'll clear the zone. Swatted out of midair by Gunnarsson. Poland will rip it back into the Philadelphia zone. Mazars able to come away with that puck. It bounces free. Kessel shot, and there's the save by Mason. No further play.
Well, let's take a look at our Toyota turning point with the score 2-1 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Comes here in the third period. Right now it's the leading goal. 2-1-2. You see the Leafs right there? And then Lupul finds Dave Bolland right out in front. Bolland kind of caught right in between the two defenders, and as a result, catches the far side to give the Leafs the 2-1 lead, and that's our Toyota turning point of tonight's game.
Max Talbot. A shot that goes wide. Bernier will just play it off the back wall and hang right on. They'll drop the puck in the Toronto zone. 1 second more than 10 minutes remaining in this third period.
There may be a player missing from the Leafs bench. Not sure who it is. That won't affect anything that the Flyers need to do. That smothering forecheck from the first period has gotten softer and softer as the game has progressed, and that's what the Flyers have to get back to. But for that to happen, they have to start moving the puck cleanly out of their own end.
I don't see Dion Phaneuf. Do you guys see Phaneuf at the end of the bench?
I don't know. What's he look like? Okay, Coach, he asked them all to turn around so we can see their numbers.
I'm sorry. Okay. Get him to turn around.
Yeah.
Right to Simmons and into the Toronto zone. Franson back. Franson will move it up the wall. Kessel.
No, Phaneuf is there.
Yeah, you can see the C on his jersey, which there is the captain of the Leafs. Flyers have to concern themselves with, as you said, Bill, getting back to attack hockey, and they don't really care if somebody's missing from that Toronto bench.
Well, it would help them if it was a defenseman. We talked earlier about the great forecheck in the first period, the fact that Toronto got to bed late, played last night. This last 10 minutes of a third period when a team is trying to protect a one-goal lead, that if you can hem them in their end, that fuel gauge just starts ticking down to E.
And add to the fact that they've been shorthanded 7 times in this game.
Absolutely. That's hard on the D-man. It's the defenseman that will wear down.
Cardinals pass intercepted in center. Phaneuf will send it in off of Coburn. Bodie after the puck. By Thievening. Fighting him off. Coburn lends some support to his longtime defense mate. Now Thievening for Hartnell. Nice touch pass to Giroux. Goes across. That one's behind Coburn, who has to rotate back. Now Thievening. In the middle, Giroux with some room. Giroux dangles on in, but lost control. Now behind that, he's got it out in front. Bernier able to make the save and cover up. Giroux able to step in front quickly there, but Bernier was ready, as he has so often been tonight. He's looking for some late offense to at least tie this one and see what can happen after that. Cavalier talking things over. Matt Reed will step in and take this draw against Tyler Bozak. Puck to the quarter boards. Here's Joffrey Lupul. Banks it off glass. Schenn has it. Now across. Flyers can't get across the red line. Leafs have done a great job shutting them down in the neutral zone. One of the things the Leafs have really gotten better at under Randy Carlyle, shutting teams down once they get a lead in the third period. Bolin gave them the lead 2:30 into this third period, and they have been suffocating since. There's nearly too many men on the ice there. Getting their change implemented here. Now they'll move up. Giroux will bounce that one through center, but played by Gardner. His pass, now almost too many men on the ice against the Leafs. Flyers wanted that call, but it is not.
Should have been.
Lupul backhander from the angle is denied. Now he gets it back to Phaneuf. It's inside of the net. Dave Bowen looking for it there, but it's knocked away. Hartnell has it. Gets the legs moving. Pass in the middle. Schenn couldn't come up with it. Giroux does. Giroux checked from behind by Kulemin. Ridden to the boards. Hartnell couldn't come up with the puck, so Lupul goes the other way. And from the red line, fires a bouncer in on Mason. Has all kinds of trouble with that before covering up. Whoa.
Well, the Leafs are taking the safe approach and just dumping the puck in, and that was a monster end-over-ender. Bounced right in front of Steve Mason and off his stick.
Got to remember that puck is frozen. So when it bounces, and if it bounces on its edge, you never know what's going to happen. Very tough for the goalie, but he handled that perfectly.
Off the draw, it's Bodie getting to the puck. Steps in front, muscle move there, power move, but the net off of its moorings, and so the whistle stops play.
Well, want to take a minute here to suggest to those watching to make plans now to see the Flyers on home ice next week. when they take on the Florida Panthers and the Phoenix Coyotes. Flyers season is now underway. Great seats are still available.
8 of their first 12 here on home ice. Flyers hoping to take advantage of that. Couturier is checked and the Leafs come up with it. Kadri. The Bodie. He'll bounce one in again. A tough one for Mason to handle. He was fended it off and now the Flyers move up. Couturier kicking it out of his skills. Sends it in. A bouncer in on Bernier. He handled that smoothly. And it's to the quarter boards and the Leafs get it to center. Kadri. Bouncing it to Philadelphia ice. 6:35 remaining, third period. Couturier from the red line. Bernier flags that down. Flyers will get there though. Reed trying to sidestep the check of Ranger. And to butt it along to Simmons, could not. Timonen back around behind. Ranger hurting his man into the wall and the Leafs come up with the puck. Simmons reads it, steals, tries to center. It's tipped away by Kessel. And now Kessel takes the puck from Van Riemsdyk and sends it deep into the Philadelphia zone. Mason will play it. Simmons or Reed. Now Matt Reed right back to Simmons. He stopped at the Toronto line. Bozak to the red line, shovels it deep to Philadelphia ice. Tough getting through the checking the Leafs right now. Here is Streit in the middle. Giroux got some room. Giroux, the right wing dish for Schenn, but he could not get there, and Phaneuf takes care of him.
The Leafs are now doing an incredible job of outnumbering the Flyers on every puck. Sometimes 3-1, sometimes 4 guys to 1.
Crowd trying to get the Flyers to figure out a way here, get the momentum going the other way. Here is Brayden Schenn, flicks it in. Hartnell chases with Kuhlman. Puck bouncing free, rattles around behind the net. And there's Lupul. Got it as far as Mazaros, who kept it in. Great effort there by Hartnell. Got the puck to Giroux in front. Brayden Schenn couldn't handle it off his skate. Phaneuf checked by Giroux. Hartnell takes over. Back for Schenn again. Shot blocked. Lupul
again.
Yeah. 2 Leafs were there to greet Schenn. And that puck into the Philadelphia bench. We've ticked below 5 minutes remaining in the third. Leafs still by 1. Leafs 2, Flyers 1. Season opener for the Flyers. All-time record 21-17-7 in season opening games. Flyers have lost their last 3 openers when they have been home. 10-3 all time in season openers when they are home, but came out playing well, dominated this game at times through the first half of the game, but since the Leafs took the 2-1 lead, they have turned up the puck pressure and have given the Philadelphia Flyers very little room to work with. And the Flyers will get to the puck here. Streit, a shot goes wide. Mazaros pokes it into the corner. Hartnell kicks it along for Voracek. He is knocked down by Phaneuf. Now Hartnell works the puck free. Angle shot, save Bernier. Rebound is loose. Giroux sends it into the slot and deflected through, and Voracek could not get to it. Voracek out with Giroux and Hartnell. As the puck goes to Giroux, in front looking for Voracek, but it deflects away, and Lupul will move up.
Boy, clearly a different look in that Giroux line with Voracek on his right side.
Right. Having some difficulty with Lupul, who, quite frankly, just worked his tail off there to keep that puck in the Flyers zone for a while. Now it's straight ahead to Simmons in the middle of Cavalier. Bounces back to Simmons. Shot blocked. Bounces to Cavalier. Chop at it. And I think Bernier got across to get his stick on it, and then it went out of play.
No, Vinny Lecavalier was able to take a swat at this. And just the angle of his stick, it turned out to be a 9-iron instead of a 2-iron, which he wanted.
It is cleanly off of Lecavalier as the faceoff will go to center.
Watch this puck come straight across.
Oh, it hit off Phaneuf, didn't it? That's how it got through the skates of
that's why Voracek couldn't react quick enough. That thing was a rocket.
Here's Reed. 3:35 remaining in the third. Simmons slides into Coburn. They both end up on the ice. Timonen has to rotate back to get the puck. There's Reed. Back to the other side of the ice for Coburn. Buckley went off Simmons to LeCavalier. LeCavalier roaring up the right wing. Throws it across. There's Coburn. He'll take the shot. Deflection! Save! Bernier off of Timonen. Juggles and hung on long enough to get the face off.
We'll check out our Mazda top shelf performers in this one. Low scoring affair, 2-1 Leafs here, 3:07 to go. Phil Kessel got the Leafs on the board. Dave Bolin also scored, and Jonathan Bernier, his first start here, and he's making the most of it. Schenn for the Flyers, Vinny LeCavalier, his first point as a Flyer. He picked up the assist on the Schenn goal. Steve Mason so far with 20 saves on 22 shots.
Flyers with a 31-22 shots advantage for the game. 9-4 here in the third. Voracek did not maneuver around Bolin. McLennan turns it over. Zaros could not get that puck through. Knocked down again. Hartnell kept it in. But the puck right to the Leafs. Phaneuf will clear. Mark Fraser, I do not believe, has taken a shift since he took that hit from Rosehill. I believe that's the player missing. As Streit navigates his way in, the shot blocked off by Gunnarsson. Lupul rammed into by his opposite 19, Hartnell, his old buddy. Flyers trying to keep it in and do. Shot from the point goes wide as Mazzaros was able to get that shot off, but missed the target. Now Bolin maneuvers up slowly to the Philadelphia line. He'll just turn it deep. Right there is Lupul. Lupul ridden off by Streit. Drew having a little difficulty controlling. And now it's Mazzaros. As the Flyers start up here, we will tick down to 2 minutes remaining in regulation time. Crowd is anxious. Here's Timonen. Flipping it in. Knocked down by Franzen and then momentarily gotten back by Simmons, but Kessel able to clear. And Riemsdyk pressuring Reed. Reed tipped it through center. And Reed playing a shift on defense here. And Riemsdyk play it around behind. 4 forwards out for the Flyers as they try to find a way to tie this game. Brayden Schenn in across the line. Swings wide. Empty net now. Hill center. Flyers need to swarm to the puck. They have the extra attacker. Have to keep it in. They fire one in. Save Bernier, and he'll gather and take the face-off. Flyers don't mind that. They'll get the offensive zone draw. 1:18 on the third period clock.
Let's take a look at our Bud Light player of the game. It's that gentleman we just saw in his first game as a Toronto Maple Leaf. Jonathan Bernier has faced 32 shots, made 31 saves. He's been very, very solid, very technical, and obviously has a great anticipation for the puck and where it is. That's our Bud Light player of the game, Jonathan Bernier.
Flyers have called timeout. Peter Laviolette trying to diagram a game tire.
Gonna have to be something pretty good to get it by Bernier.
Bernier has been very good. Flyers will head to Montreal for their next game Saturday. Quick turnaround to Raleigh on Sunday at 5 o'clock, and then a couple of home games that we've talked about. Panthers and Coyotes. Another quick back-to-back there. Playing Phoenix and then going to Detroit. But right now the attention is on this game as the Flyers with 6 attackers. Hartnell, Voracek, LeCavalier, Giroux, Timonen. Among the 6 out there, and Mark Streit. Have a look at him. Face-offs relatively even, slight edge to the Leafs. Cavalier looks to be settling in to take this draw against Tyler Bozak. Another dimension that LeCavalier brings, good on face-offs to give Giroux some support. Puck down, Flyers gain control. Here is Streit. No lane, so he'll give to LeCavalier down the Voracek in front. Never got there. Blocked off by Gunnarsson. Now Voracek. Attack of lost it. LeCavalier taken to the boards by McLennan. Puck in skate. Flyers can't come up with it. Bozak does. Gets to Lupul with the empty net. He is checked by Timonen. That's a penalty. Timonen got his stick up into the midsection. A hooking penalty against Timonen with 57.2 seconds remaining.
So the hill gets pretty steep now because the Flyers can't have that man advantage with Steve Mason out of the goal, and that's why Mason's going in, plus the location of the faceoff. Not much to do for Timo Timonen on that play. He was just trying to keep Lupo from getting any kind of shot in the empty cage.
Peter Laviolette still directing traffic over there, giving his team instructions as to when to get Mason back to the bench to try to get it to 5-on-5 at this point. And the Flyers do get control, but Mazaris is checked by Lupul. Lupul's had a strong game just in terms of checking in this game. There's Mazaris battling a bouncing puck, and will reverse it to Coburn, who hesitates. Now he'll move it ahead for Giroux, who tries to clear, and he hit Franzen. Bad break there, and Kuhlman will drop it back to Franzen. 35 seconds remaining. Mason still between the pipes. Phaneuf will blast it in. Lupul to it, lets it go to Bolland. Bolland back out to Franzen for a quick shot save. Mason rebound, save another shot. Bolland, he scores. The former Blackhawk, Dave Bolland, with his second of the period, and the Leafs lead 3-1.
Boy, this is the definition of a crying shame. Steve Mason made two dandies. And then down on the ice by himself, Dave Bolland had a sharp angle shot. There's one by Mason, a second one by Mason, a really good save, and Dave Bolland, right place, right time. Give him credit, though, he had a sharp angle and made it count.
Well, you pretty well tell the tale there when you said shot by Bolland, rebound to Bolland, and you had that time to have the opportunity to be able to get it by Mason because the two defenders were still not around there, in around Bolland. And that's what happened on the second goal to win this hockey game.
Toronto goal scored by number 63, Dave Bolland. The second of the season and the league.
So the Leafs about to complete a very impressive daily double to start the season in Montreal. A win over the Canadiens, and now to Philadelphia, and a win over the Flyers. There is Talbot trying to center, but he is stopped. The Leafs spoiled two home openers in a row and moved to 2-0 as the Flyers lose their season opener 3-1 the final. Jonathan Bernier, at times spectacular, backstopping his team to the victory over Steve Mason's Flyers. So the Flyers will have to bounce back when they go on the road to take on the Canadiens. Andy Briere last night accepted the torch from Guy Lafleur. And the Canadiens will be looking for a home ice win against the Flyers Saturday night. Our coverage begins at 6:30. Comcast Sportsnet. For the entire crew, as well as my partners, Bill Clement and Steve Coates, I'm Jim Jackson. Good night from the Wells Fargo Center. Stay tuned for the postgame show. Flyers postgame live coming up next.